Hello, everyone. It's time for more Hex Boyfriends. Rather, I should say, the most popular esport on the web, League of Boyfriends. Last time, as you might remember, we were attempting to figure out which team to pick. We were going with Team Mike at first, but we found Team Mike to be a little creepy. So we tried Team Devin, and that just ended up with us becoming a demon and then getting killed after killing Devin in our demon body. So neither of those teams worked out very well. So we're going to attempt to see if we can finalize which team we want to be on tonight and see if we can get ourselves a Hex Boyfriend. Now, last time, as we discovered, there was no built-in soundtrack into Hex Boyfriends, so we had to go with the Shadows of the Dam soundtrack, which worked quite well. This time, I think, since we know, I mean, this is so scary, so heinous and demonic. We were a demon last time. I figured that we should go with only the scariest of soundtracks for this attempt, so tonight we'll be playing the Illbleed soundtrack, as we attempt, once again, to get a boyfriend. Okay, so now, well, I chose the name last time, so now it's up to you. Who is our next protagonist? Searching for that perfect Hex Boyfriend. Who is it, chat? We were Neo Hoku-chan last time, the reincarnation of Hoku-chan. But now, seems to be quite... I saw a few... Yeah, there's a few for Brainless Randy, which is not a bad choice. It's not a bad choice. Yeah, I think Brainless Randy really is the easy win there. It's the only thing that's really appropriate. And since we're Brainless Randy, I would assume that means we're going with Guy. So, let's get started. Okay. Now, I assume this is just going to start off the same way as it did last time. Yeah, okay. Now, this was the first choice that we had, and last time you chose photography major, chat. And we saw where that led. It led to going into the dark room with Mike, finding out about his spell to pull things out of photographs. Is that where we want to go this time, chat? Or do we have a different major in mind? It's pretty close between history and biology. Biology is pulling ahead, and there are a few slackers in this chat who don't want us to have a major at all. You'll never get through college that way, chat. You have to choose a major. They won't let you stay there forever. Some of us have tried that. Okay, most of you are saying it is number 3. It is biology major. Yeah, I could see Brainless Randy going into biology. After he what was that? There must be a haunting going on in this room. This combination of Hex Boyfriends and the Illbleed soundtrack is just bringing out the dark spirits, I would assume. Something just got knocked over, and I don't know what caused it. Anyway. Yes, I do think... Yes, this is different now that we've picked a new major. So let's begin. Your dorm room is a single that you acquired after too many awful roommate experiences. Oh, wait. We already saw that. Okay. Now, we're starting to write. Okay, now this is different. Second paragraph, chat. Shrugging off your sudden negative feelings, you sit down at your desk, boot your laptop, and commence writing. This might be a little loud. Photobacteria Photobacteria may not be the most intense thing you've ever studied, but they're not exactly boring either. After typing away for a few hours, you print out your paper on ocean microbes that display bioluminescence. As your printer scrolls each sheet, you chug a soda from your mini-fridge to fight off the sudden urge to take a nap. It's Friday, and you're not... I think that we did... read this, didn't we? This is very, very similar, at least, from what we saw last time. Yeah, this is where we're casting a spell on our cactus, and we accidentally kill it because it was the fire spell. And then we get, we getting messages from Rick and Mike. Rick is the one who tries to write all of his college papers about the Simpsons or the Powerpuff Girls, whereas Mike, well, we know what Mike's all about. Yeah, we've met Mike. We know about him. So this has been the same up to now. I guess we're gonna have to choose who we want to hang out with. Is it gonna be Mike or Rick? I mean, I could assume I know who you're gonna pick since we already saw where it ended up with Mike. So you're probably curious. You probably want to know what Team Rick is all about. Team Rick seems like the fun one. Alright, so Brainless Randy is all about fun. So we're gonna hang out with Rick. Alright. You meet Rick down in the parking lot by the dorms. He's leaning against the '71 Mustang he restored himself and painted bright orange. You notice that he's scrolling through his cell phone. You can't help but think he's trying to appear nonchalant. When he sees you, he smiles, showing perfectly straight teeth. He brushes his sandy blonde hair away from his eyes. What would we want to go with here? Nah, that's... Probably should have thought of a voice in advance for Rick. He seems like a fun guy. He seems like a guy who likes to loosen up, to maybe not accept that much responsibility, to maybe ditch class. He seems like that kind of person. You ready to roll, Brainless Randy? He asks. I was thinking about going to the museum in town. I've never been. Neither have I, so that sounds perfect. And I'm always up for a ride in the Ticket Magnet, you answer. Ticket Magnet? Rick snorts at your remark. Ever since he painted the Mustang, the bright color and growling engine attracts campus cops like bees to honey. Ah, I see. So it's not a compliment. 3 speeding tickets in 2 days. Security said it was a new campus record. As the Mustang roars from the parking lot, Rick lets out a whoop and rolls down the car's windows. And not really driving music now, is it, though? You enjoy the cool rush of air as it blows the hair from your face. The museum is a short 10-minute ride away. You both chat about classes, killing time between the red lights. Every time Rick grabs the shifter to change gears, you want to place your hand over his, but can't quite muster the courage. Soon, you've lost your chance. Rick pulls into the parking lot of the Lily Valley Museum. You grab your backpack and follow Rick inside. After paying admission, Rick insists that he pay for yours as well. The bespectacled lady at the ticket booth informs you that the planetarium show starts in 15 minutes. Also, there's a new exhibition on loan down the hall called The Life of Early Man. Which one will you visit first? Another choice, chat. We're at the museum. We're not here last time. Do we want to go to the planetarium show? Or do we think Life of Early Man sounds pretty interesting? Which one do we want to go with, Rick? Planetarium taking an early lead, but Early Man coming up from behind. It's pretty even, chat. You're very split on how you want to spend your time with Rick. But, it seems like I was about to say most of you are choosing planetarium. Alright, gonna do my little 3 count. 3, 2, 1. 2, 1. Just barely, chat. I like planetarium shows myself, but you decided we're going with Rick to talk about the life of Early Man. It's pretty interesting. The Early Man exhibition is on loan from the State Museum. Yeah, this is museum music, I think. Music when you're walking around in a museum. While small, it's detailed enough to capture your attention. You study the displayed skulls of several Neanderthals, and Rick wanders up next to you. Alas, poor Yorick! I knew him, Horatio! He intones, holding his hand below one of the skulls in its case. You smile at Rick, and move on to the next exhibit, which is a collection of early pottery bowls and grooved fragments. Rick, however, is more interested in finding the part of the exhibit hall where his voice best reverberates. He moves from spot to spot and calls, Echo! The other museum patrons move away from him, glaring. Patrons, I think. Rick, you call? Come take a look at this pottery. It's amazing what they could accomplish thousands of years ago with such simple tools. He nods, but seems distracted by the marble floor. You watch in disbelief as Rick takes his shoes off. He holds the pair in one hand, then backs up against one of the museum walls. Taking a hop and a skip, he starts to run and then slides on his socks towards you on the slick marble. You watch in horror as his arms windmill to keep his balance, and he careens into a pedestal holding an ancient jar. The entire pedestal tumbles to the ground, smashing both the glass case and the pottery inside. Shards of glass and brown pottery are everywhere, and an alarm sounds. You know, it sounds like Rick is actually playing the part of Brainless Randy. I imagine this is how Brainless Randy was in the Friends relationship in Illbleed. Whoops! Rick mumbles. He puts his shoes back on, leaving the laces untied. Well, maybe they shouldn't keep priceless objects on shaky pedestals. You resist the urge to put your head in your hands and turn back to the mess. Something strange catches your eye. A large, curved tooth is in the middle of all the shards. Rick notices as well and starts to move towards it. The klaxon continues to blare. Security will be here any second. What will you do, chat? Are we going to let Rick grab that tooth? Or do we grab the tooth before Rick can get it? You know, there was a mention of a tooth last time when we were doing the whole demon summoning thing. They did ask us if we had a tooth. Interesting. Most of you are saying that we should grab it ourselves instead of letting Rick have it. Because why would we let Rick have it? That'd be dumb. Come on. Before Rick can get to the curved tooth, you crunch over the bits of broken glass and crouch down in front of it. Rick starts to move next to you, but you motion for him to stay away. Something isn't quite right here. Energy is emanating from the tooth. A force that you can feel push against you in waves. You place your hand on the floor for balance and nearly cut yourself on the destroyed glass. A commotion in the back of the room announces the arrival of security. You glance up at Rick, and he nods his head, moving to head them off. You'll have a few moments before the men can get by him. Oh. Well, chat. If we're a biology major, and we are, and we want to use our knowledge to examine the tooth, we can do that with one. If we know the scrying spell and would like to use it, well, we don't. We can't actually do that. Or we can simply pick up the tooth, and keep it turn to 31. If keeping it seems like a bad idea, we can destroy the tooth. So 4 choices, but choice number 2 is not available because we don't know the scrying spell. I don't think it's going to matter because all of you want us to use our biology knowledge to examine this thing. Might as well use it. I mean, it's our specialty after all. It's why we went to college. Kneeling carefully to avoid the bits of broken glass and pottery, you examine the tooth from afar. It's splotched with brown stains, lined with slender, shallow cracks, and yellowed with age. Odd symbols are etched into every available space on its surface. Runes, maybe? You're not sure. None of the weird carvings look familiar to you. Looking closer, you think back to your bio classes. From your knowledge of evolutionary biology, it appears to be a fang from a prehistoric cat. Maybe a saber-toothed tiger or a close relative of that species. Even from this distance, you can feel the large fang pulsing with power. The feeling is so strong that you find yourself struggling to keep your balance against its force. It's getting serious. Decision time again, chat! So many decisions! This seems like it might be important. Do we keep the tooth? Or, since there's probably no good that can come from it, do we destroy it? What do we do, chat? Kind of odd that the museum didn't notice this tooth in this pot. You think they would have examined the pot? No, apparently they didn't. Well, it looks like you're saying we need to take this with us. You pull your shirt sleeve over your hand and clear away the broken pieces of glass from the tooth. Picking it up, you feel a small jolt. Whatever power resides in the curved fang has investigated your mind. You feel it experience your memories, your fears, and your desires. All in the one moment it takes you to restore your balance. Being laid bare before a strange entity doesn't leave you feeling as vulnerable as you might have thought. Thankfully, your decision to grab the tooth and the spirit that resides within it has not led to any harm. You feel the spirit settle into the back of your mind, as if making itself comfortable in a warm bed. You pull out your cell phone and check the time. Almost time to go to your Wicca meeting. As you put your phone away, Rick jogs up behind you, security pacing up a few yards behind him. I told them it was a freak accident, but I bet they're going to review the security footage. I should probably be able to leave before they review it, though, if you want a lift. He arches an eyebrow at you as you turn away, tuck the rune-inscribed tooth into your backpack. Are you sure that's a good idea? Well, we can ditch Rick if we want, it seems. Or, we can stick with him, get a ride home. Yeah, I'm assuming the security guards did not actually hear anything Rick said. Let's go with that. Alright, most of you are saying that we should go with Rick. The music seems to think this is a dangerous choice. His concern is cute. I know it has a weird vibe, but it's alright, you say, stuffing the curved fang further down in your bag. I'll be very careful with it, I promise. Rick shrugs. If you want to keep it, keep it. You nod. How about that ride? Rick glances over his shoulder at the security team. Oh yeah, about that. So how fast can you run? You reach over and grab his hand, giving it a quick squeeze, and wink at him. No faster than you, I bet. These two seem very, very similar, so no wonder that they like to hang out. Security yells at you as you both take out down the hall. Skidding around corners, the sound of thumping feet and the shouts of the men following you echo off the walls. You and Rick pound the marble hallways until you reach the museum entrance. Bursting through the double doors at the same time, you both sprint to Rick's orange Mustang. Rick jams the key into the lock, slides in, leans over, and unlocks your door. He sure does. You jump in as the engine starts with a roar and cloud of exhaust. Burning rubber, Rick peels from the parking lot, leaving a trail of men in blue uniforms gasping in your wake. Yep, that's how it would go. Laughing, you lean over and give Rick a kiss on the cheek. That was the most excitement I've had in a while. Rick grins. I'll go back later and apologize. No, I'm not sure an apology will cut it, you say. Then you might be getting a call from me asking for bail, he says with a smile. Now, where to? You direct him to Mara's old Victorian rental house on Drew Street. When Rick pulls into the bottom of the gravel driveway, he notices that two of the hottest guys from the group, Devin and Theo, are standing on the front porch of the house. You're pretty sure they both have crushes on you. Devin is always asking for the best way to perform this or that spell, and Theo asks for help with pronunciation for spell words that he already knows. You wonder how they're going to react to you arriving at the meeting after a date with another guy. Well, we know about this choice, chat. Last time we had this choice, we were approaching the house with Mike, and they didn't like Mike. Don't know how they feel about Rick. It looks like either way, though, you guys are making the same choice. You want to inspire some jealousy and walk up to the house with Rick. You open your door and saunter out of the Mustang, pretending not to notice Devin and Theo leaning on the porch. As you walk around to the driver's side, Rick gets out of the car to give you a hug. You turn his friendly gesture into more of an embrace, and then stand on your tiptoes to give him a peck on the cheek. Oh, Rick must be really tall, because Randy is quite tall himself, and he has to stand on his tiptoes here. I had a lovely time, you tell him. He is blushing. So did I! I'll give you a call later. Thanks again for the lift. You wave and start your walk up the long driveway to the house. Anytime, Rick calls. He gets back into the orange Mustang and shifts the car into gear. With a wild whoop, he screeches the tires and takes off down Drew Drive, leaving a cloud of gray smoke and the smell of burnt rubber in his wake. You stroll up the gravel driveway and climb the crooked, peeling painted steps of Mara's house. The two college studs stand side by side. Devin is smaller, but has more of a muscled build, the perfect guy to grace the cover of a men's magazine. Theo is leaner and taller, with a dark caramel complexion, made even darker by his hours playing soccer on the quad. As you approach, you notice Theo's brown eyes look startled, and Devin's green eyes are filled with something more like anger.
Who was that? Asks Devin, irritatedly rubbing the pentagram branded on his left wrist. Oh, no one. Just a friend. You pick a piece of flaking paint from the porch railing before taking them both by the arm. Shall we go inside? No, wait, Theo says. We found something that we have to show you. Can't really remember what I did for Theo, because he didn't have many lines. Something like that. You pick at some more flaking paint, I guess, as Devin and Theo rummage through Devin's backpack. History, bio, chem, notebook. Theo glances up at Devin. Just how much do you really have to have in here? I have classes after this, Devin says, shoving Theo away gently. He reaches back into the backpack and pulls out a shadowy, obsidian-colored tome. Finally. Here. Oh, wait, this is the Necronomicon again, right? This is where we pull out the Necronomicon and say, hey, that's cool, right? He bought it at an estate sale, probably from an old man who disappeared as soon as he bought it from him, and there is no label on it. Something like that. Alright. This is a different choice than we had before. Alright, so Theo and Devin both want Brainless Randy's help with this. So, we have a choice. We can either help Theo try it out, we can help Devin try it out, or we could tell them that they both found it, so we're all going to try it out together. That really does make the most sense, doesn't it, right? If we're all interested in knowing what this does, we might as well just do it all together. Looks like you agree. You're all down for this threesome. Let's turn to page 54. Look, gentlemen, if Devin found the book, and Theo gave up money to buy it, I'm gonna help you both, you say. You push your hand out and crook your finger at Devin. He hands back the tome, and you put it into your own bag. Hoisting the pack into your shoulders, you feel like you've deposited bricks in there instead of a book. Devin and Theo glance at each other yet again, then both shrug. Fine, Devin says. I guess that's fair, Theo grumbles. All right, let's get inside, you say, and start towards the door. Nah, come on, Devin says, catching you by the shoulder. We're ditching him. The only experienced person in there is Mara. The rest are new kids. Goodness knows, they can barely spell Wicca, much less say it. You let Devin turn you around. Fine, you say. Let's head over to the park. Alright, so it's going in a different direction. We're still ditching the house, but we have Theo along with us. Maybe this won't result in us possessing a demon and dying. You, Devin, and Theo walk down Drew Street to the nearby park. Despite the gorgeous weather, no kids are in sight. The unoccupied seesaw creaks in the mild wind. You head past the swings and the sandbox, making your way towards the jungle gym. The large metal and plastic structure will block the view of any passers-by. The three of you settle down onto the grass. Sitting cross-legged, you pull the book from your bag. Uh-oh. Smoothing your hand over its textured leather cover, you start wondering again at the strange runes and the bizarre diagram. Gold filigree fills each curve and lines of the designs. It's still far heavier than a normal book, almost like holding a metal plate. You place the book onto the grass and look to Devin and Theo. Well, you guys bought it. What should we try first? Hesitantly, Theo reaches over and cracks the cover. He and Devin put their heads together, turning the thin pages. All of the spells have been handwritten in calligraphy with thick ink. The ink is so old that the bold black sweeps of the letter have taken on a reddish tinge. Devin rubs the brand of the pentagram on his left wrist, his fingers tracing the raised red scar tissue. What about this one? Theo asks. It says, summon friendly... Oh, this again. At least that's what I think it says. What about that incantation one page back? The one that said, conjure feast, says Devin. There's only 3 of us, you say. I don't think we need a feast. Alright, what about this? I think it says, call of the moon, Devin suggests again. Come on, man. All of your suggestions are lame. Let's do the friendly spirit one. Theo grabs the book and pulls it into his lap. That's just as boring, Devin says. Trying to swipe the book from Theo's hands, Theo falls backwards laughing to get away from him. Devin launches himself from a seated position and falls onto Theo trying to grab the book. I see what it is. Theo keeps laughing, stretching one long arm out to keep the book away, while using the other arm to put Devin in a loose headlock. The breeze flips the pages as Theo drops the heavy tome. You scooch back into the grass and let the two men wrestle it out, placing your chin in your hands. You unbend your legs and kick at their shoes as they tussle. Come on, guys, we don't have all day. Fine, Devin gasps. Theo, let me go. We'll do the first spell we come to. Theo releases Devin's hand. Devin scrambles over and grabs the book, flipping to a random page. Theo goes and kneels beside him, and they begin the incantation. As soon as they begin, you realize this was a terrible idea. Of course it is. It's a spell from the Necronomicon. This was never a good idea at any time at all. You should have checked the spell before they began. They're mispronouncing important words, and there are some you've never even heard before. A sudden bang, and you feel the blast of furnace-hot air hit your face. The force of the concussion knocks you over. Lying dazed on your back, you manage to raise yourself up on your elbows. A void at least 20 feet tall, swirling black and purple in color, spins not 10 feet from where you... Yeah, it's happening all over again, isn't it? Let's see. Creature of nightmares, easily 12 feet tall, body of a man, covered in scales, black goat's head. Yep, there it is. The portal closes with an abrupt intake of air, like the last gasp of a dying animal. You, Devin, and Theo are on the ground, stunned. The demon is lumbering off, making huge strides. Soon we'll reach the road. Well, we know what this is, chat. We have a different choice than we had with Devin last time. It's giving us the option to use that flame spell that we memorized at the beginning. It says if we don't know the flame spell or would rather not use it, then we can chase after him. But we do know the flame spell. We took the time to memorize it. It looks like you're pretty much unanimous. Yep, battle music beginning. Use the flame spell. You turn to Theo and Devin, who are still trying to shake the ringing from their ears. They both lie on the ground, struggling to get themselves to their feet. As Theo and Devin try to pull themselves together, you realize that right now it's up to you to stop the creature. Perhaps you can use your new spell to hit it? The power of the fire spell must be able to stop the beast in its tracks, or at the very least, distract it from running towards the school. You look down at your clenched fists, then look back to the retreating form of the demon. Okay, chat. Now it's asking us to clarify. Should we just use a huge area of effects spell to cover everything in fire, kill everything around us, or do we go for the headshot? Be all tactical with this, with our fire spell. Okay. Yep, it looks like number 2 is going to take this. Headshot. You clasp your hands together, bowing your head, repeating the flame spell over and over in your mind. You visualize a column of fire, engulfing the demon's entire head, burning away hairs, scorching its horns. When you can hardly stand the power anymore, you raise your right hand, palm facing outward, and shout, Shulfra! The column of flame erupts from the demon's head, searing its flesh instantly. It staggers, and you hear its scream echo through the trees. The creature continues to shriek, beating out the flames with its clawed hands. Finally, it plows its head into the earth, creating a furrow of dirt and extinguishing the inferno. It swiftly turns around. All of the black hair on its goatish head has been burned away, leaving charred, bubbling, blistering skin. The open sores are covered in dirt and ash. It shakes its head and bellows, bending the branches of the trees before you. Chat, this might not have been a good idea. If it wasn't paying attention to you before, it sure is now. The demon starts to lurch forward. You prepare yourself to run, but now notice that your two companions have regained their feet. Seeing the demon start to lunge, Devin screams a spell, waving his hand in an arc. The creature becomes distracted, confused, and turns its head this way and that, smelling the air, and starts again in the direction of campus. "What did you summon?" you say, clutching in Theo and Devin's arms. I don't remember," Theo says. "It was a random page. There was some diagram at the top." Devin is already flipping through the book, almost tearing the thin pages. Here it is, he says, fighting for breath. It's called an aberrath, a being from another dimension. He pauses. Goddess! It says here that the aberraths have a strong taste for human flesh. Devin lowers the tome and looks at you and Theo. Theo clutches his head. It was headed towards school. We have to follow it, you say. Wordlessly, Devin and Theo follow you as you sprint in the wake of the demon. Well, chat, despite... Well, I don't know if we really had any efforts towards it, but it's interesting that even though we did something completely different than last time, our action still resulted in the summoning of a demon to Earth. That just seems to be something that happens in Hex Boyfriends. But we are at a half an hour at this point, so I think we're just going to take a short break for a few minutes, and when we come back, we'll continue on following the Aberrath and see if we can actually do anything about it. Hopefully not involving possessing a demon again, because that didn't work out so well. Be back in a few minutes.